welcome to Bridging the Gap. Ian Hansen in with intuitive medium and spiritual advisor Brenda Burgett. Brenda, on this edition of the program, we're going to be bridging the gap between, and this is a good one, I love it. Not that they're all not wonderful, but I'm very interested to see what comes out of today's discussion because it's about the pull. Put your arms out at home and get pulled between maybe your accountant or that practical person you know and that intuitive side that we are attempting to ever blossom in you. That's what we're going to discuss today.
It'll be interesting to see what they say to us.
Absolutely. And again, if you want to get your questions, we're going to start the program with one, by the way, but if you want to get your questions to Brenda Burgett, you can do so, and I will do this slower than in episode 7, so as not to cause Shuffy, our cameraman and editor on staff, any more headaches. BridgingTheGapWithBrenda.com is the website. You can also go to BridgingTheGapTV.com, and on YouTube it's Bridging the Gap on TV. Thank you very much again. We hope all is well in Ghana for forcing us to use the on to bridge our gap.
And I think this is a great time to say that when they look at our webpage, that they realize that Jason did the webpage. It's beautiful, and he can do one for you as well.
That would be Shuffy, by the way.
Shuffy, and all you have to do is contact us, email us, and we'll make sure you get his numbers.
CEO, President, sole proprietor of Cyan. And I'm hoping to do some droid-based ads for him one of these days. We'll talk about that on a future edition of the program. Brenda, we love to have fun here on Bridging the Gap, and we're going to, but we're going to open the program today with a pretty serious question that came in. And again, thanks for getting these to us. Keep getting these to Brenda. She will address your questions on future editions of the program. Loves to do this. That's really the whole base for this program, Brenda, in a lot of ways.
It is.
And again, coming up with your own answers is the ultimate goal for all of these big questions. And this one's a pretty tough one to start the program with. It's going to be the base, again, for our discussion about, again, the intuitive side that you may have. I put it on the left the first time. Let's put it on the right this time, and that practical side. And that sounds like what our first viewer is going through that wrote in this question, Brenda. It goes as follows. Pretty long question, but I do want to read all of it because I think it's very important for you to hear. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. It goes as follows. It says, I have not made good financial choices, and as a result I may lose my home. I can't seem to pull my finances out of the fire now. I'm not sleeping, and my embarrassment is growing as creditors call me all the time more and more. I've always paid my bills, but there is no way that I can at this time because of the problems I'm experiencing. I have thought of suicide, and my family would maybe like to get a little bit of money to me to see me through. That doesn't come through all that well in the written form. My apologies for that. I think he's saying that he might want to borrow some money from his family.
Or life insurance.
Okay. Oh, that would be it. You're right, Brenda. Excuse me. Please don't judge me. I'm very serious about ending my life at this time. What do the angels say? Do I have anything left, or are they disgusted with me? The religion I was raised with says it's a sin to commit suicide, but at least my family would have money to start over. Please give me some insight. Again, a very, very heavy-duty question that's being asked of Brenda. We thank whoever it is out there for asking it. We'll start by wishing them all the best, but let's not wish them the best. Let's give them something that's good.
And they may not like what they hear from me. It's pretty straightforward. Yes, you can take your life. Absolutely take your life. Is it yours to take? That would be up to you. Nothing is accomplished when you take your life. Zero. My belief is, and I'm not alone in this, is that you will go into a place where you try to remember you even killed yourself, and a lot of times you stay right where you were when you killed yourself. Because I don't think you ever really think it's going to happen. So it's not somebody waiting with a set of wings to take you away. It's a place where you have to stay and figure it out for a while. And it's not over. You've got your energy. You're going to come right back. I don't know for a fact you're going to have the same things to resolve, but it would sound, if there is any logic in this, that that's what's going to happen. What is coming through is really, really good. Did you cause this? Are you the reason that the world is in the shape it's in? Or you did make bad choices, but you can always say the world is in such a mess and I'm not alone. If we cut past that and say, this is something that you brought into your life, own it, they're saying there is such a big lesson here. And you and I talk. I don't believe that we learn lessons. I think we remember. Remember what's important to you. They're saying that the way you look at money has not been realistic. You judge yourself by money, and you think everybody else is going to judge you by the same thing. Actually, who is everybody else, and does that make any difference at all? It does make a difference if it makes a difference to you or it makes a difference to me. Does it really make any difference? No. What's important here? What are we looking at? Lose my home, creditors calling. I'm hearing them say we're not financial advisors. What we are is somebody here to welcome you and tell you that your worth is huge. Your value to your family is immeasurable. This is the life you chose to lead. Ask your guides, ask your angels, ask your God, what is it here? What am I to remember? How, not necessarily how do I get out of this mess, but think about first why you're in it in the first place. And they're saying there's a huge forgiveness involved in this, and the forgiveness has to come from you. Forgive yourself. Whoa, this is so big. Forgive yourself and walk ahead. Walk straight into whatever's coming. And decide what's important to you. What is really important to you at the end of the day. You agonize over creditors and money and what's coming next. I see a child involved here that needs you more than your creditors need you. Look at your priorities, ask for some guidance, and do the big forgiving of yourself right away. Get that out of the way. There is no guilt here. There is no... If there were some bad decisions made, they weren't bad decisions, they were decisions. Go from here, draw a line, don't look back. Walk forward and see where you're going in this. This could be a very good thing for you. Do you really want to commit suicide? I don't think so. But you want to run. You want to get away from this. You want to leave your family something. Well, you'll leave them something all right. You'll leave them a nightmare that will never end in this lifetime. Am I going to tell you what to do? Absolutely not. Stop, breathe, ask your source, your God. There's answers there. This is not the end of anything unless you choose it, and then it's not the end because you're going to do it again.
All right. I know, Brenda, we've introduced this on Bridging the Gap, the radio program. We have not introduced this on the TV show that I'm aware of to this point, so I think it's time that we did. I would say this is time for one of those nude bombs that I like so much. You drop one of those, and really, seriously, it's a fun term, but I think when we get twisted up with anything that we have built, and money certainly is one of the things that human beings have created, along with all of the things that have been built up that it buys and sells every day as commodities and so forth. If you drop one of these and take all that away, take every single thing that man has ever built away, including your clothes, what are you left with? You're left with you, everybody around you in the world to be friends with, basically, each other, as I like to say, and everything that you need to survive.
So everybody's on a level playing field when you talk that way.
Yeah.
I have a quick story. When you get old, you get to tell stories.
Uh-oh. B. Burgett has a story, so
not
we do the super zoom on this one. Shuffy, if you please.
Not a funny story, but I had a neighbor who had a very troubled son. I didn't know any of the details other than he was in the police blotter a lot, and second, 2 families and whatever. And I zipped into the corner grocery store, and this boy who was about 16 or 17 was sitting on a skateboard on the little thing that keeps the car from driving through the store. And he recognized me, and he's moved out of the way. He says, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he was just looking like, and I was not acknowledging my gifts at that time, but I knew there was a huge hurt inside this human. My impulse was to go sit down by him and say, "Are you okay?" Instead, I thought, I wonder if he's on drugs. I wonder what's the matter with that guy, instead of really looking at him as a human being. Well, the next day he took his own life. Could I have stopped it or changed it? Probably not. That was his contract, that's what he chose to do. Did I stop and question myself? Absolutely. Good thing here. Don't worry so much about what people are going to think or say about you. If you feel someone in need, be guided by that feeling and show a little kindness. Just a little bit of kindness would be sometimes all someone needs.
Yeah, you'll never know the change maybe that you did make, but that's okay. You don't need to know that change.
And if you don't know, it's just almost better.
And Brenda, we're lingering in the camp of, again, taking one's own life, and that wasn't the intent on this edition of the program, so we'll get to the theme of, again, being tugged on by the intuitive side and the practical side here in just a minute. But I want to go back to the issue of suicide for a moment, because you said that it's your belief that people go to a place. Now, I want to back that up by saying that you have communicated with spirits on behalf of survivors before, of people who have claimed their own lives, and you know about this place that they are in full well.
It is so clear cut. And this is not something I have said out loud before recently. It's not something that's people want to hear necessarily, but it's a channeling thing. And yes, they come back when they've had enough time to be in a place better than where they first go. And the first thing they say is, "Get over it. Don't be sad for me." You know, and that's their big burden, it seems to us. Tell my dad to write a book. Tell my mom to quit crying. It's not your fault. Get over it. Instead of, "I'm sorry, I didn't," it's like their concern is for who's left. And my thought is, be concerned with who was going to be left before you do it. Or think about doing it and realize it's a solution, but does it end what you're going through? No.
It's a gigantic question, and I think it's one that our society and societies all around the globe are going to face more and more as more and more of us are here. Again, the planet's verging on 9 billion people soon. And modern medicine is seeing to it that life can be, physically at least, prolonged for more and more time, but not necessarily with so much quality to perhaps the assumption of family members, even the person that would be receiving the treatments. You know, you could live 20 years more, but you're going to be in pain, or you're going to have to take medicine that makes you sleepy, or who knows what. So again, these are other issues we're talking about. This is more of an emotional thing that this person's going through. But still, Brenda, this is a one that's going to come up over and over and over again, and it's a real tough one. There is no answer here necessarily that comes.
The answer is
overall
inside you, and make sure you really know what you're doing. Make sure you're not, you haven't watched some movie that is very dramatic, or some kid at school decides to do it and you've heard of that before. Talk to someone. Make them listen to you. And good luck to this person.
And never have we said to anybody not to seek professional counseling either. So we're certainly not saying that anything that would be psychological, scientific in nature would be a bad move. That would probably be a first move.
It's your first move. Go see a counselor. Yeah. Talk to someone who can help you with a counselor. People like ourselves are here after you've done everything else. Or if you're at a stage in your life where you believe that the psychic and the energy is more beneficial to you, then that's your choice. But never turn down professional help when you're at a stage where you don't know. And
I would offer this to this person too, Brenda, from my side of the equation, and for anybody else that might be out there that might be in a similar boat, it's very difficult with children because they don't have as much life experience. But one of the things that you could also stop down and do, and again I talked about taking away all of the physical things in our world and just evaporating them, and that gives you maybe a grounding. If that's too much for you right away, think about the last thing in your life that was troublesome to you. How long ago maybe it was. Perhaps it was just last year. Maybe it was 5-10 years ago. But think about what that was, and you were just agonizing over it. And of course, now it's gone. It's gone today.
It's so gone.
So maybe go back there and realize that there is a tomorrow, there is a next month, there is a next year, and that it will take time. But even this, which seems completely insurmountable, will be overcome. It will be part of the past.
Okay, let's talk about what you can do if you're not at the suicide stage of your life, but you are so overwhelmed. And what do I do with this? How do I handle this? Coming through is, oh my gosh, same story we say all the time. Look at it in a different way. Stop blaming anybody, yourself, our president, the world, circumstances, whatever, and really look at what it is. Take its teeth out, take its sting out, take its bite out. This is just money. This is just whatever. Get to the important things in life. Can we change the way we look at things? This is a big one for me. Change the energy around it and see it for what it is. It's an opportunity to remember who it is I came here to be. When I am agonizing over anything, I've lost my direction. I came here to love people. I came here to heal people. I came here to share what I have. And am I a hypocrite when I fall into these things? No, I'm not. Any more than anybody else. It's just a gentle contrast to say, hey, that's so unimportant right now. We'll help you figure it out. We're never going to leave you alone. We'll just walk through this and see where you go.
And realize that all these things are choices after all, too.
Choices.
If you have a certain lifestyle and you want to have a certain size house with so many bathrooms and whatever kind of countertops and whatever kind of car you like and whatever kind of clothes you like and on and on and on, those are all your choices. You are choosing that, and that can put a burden on you. And if you're looking at it and saying, well, this is an undue burden for me, you might think about removing the burden. That's another thing maybe people go through.
Exactly. And we got to say that there's nothing wrong with the big houses.
Not at all. I'm not saying that whatsoever. You should see
that.
Brenda's. Huge. Giant. It's a pretty nice house. It's not that big, actually.
It's a very comfortable house.
It is very comfortable. We're sitting in it now. Actually, no, we
I
can't say
don't
that,
drive
so.
a big sports car with an eagle on the hood. Is that
Oh, now wait a minute now. She's talking about my classic. And we'll feature that in another episode of Bridging the Gap at some point here. We'll bridge the gap between real muscle and this fake stuff.
Nothing wrong with material things at all. Just put them in the perspective that they're intended to be. They're for comfort. They're for sharing. They're for enjoyment. And I think Source God has no problem with that.
I don't either, and we'll get into that a lot on Bridging the Gap, I know too, because I can hear people saying right now, well, all this is well and good, but part of what we've talked about already is how to bring material wealth to yourself and talking about taking your power and bringing it and expecting it. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Yeah. So.
Buddha was a prince who gave up everything, his kingdom, everything, and put himself through all kinds of unimaginable stuff, only to say, this really probably wasn't necessary. I have all these answers inside me. I don't have to suffer. I can if I choose to. I'm paraphrasing Buddha now. You'll probably get me tonight, but it's just, don't make such a big deal out of everything.
That's really funny. That should come up. I was just discussing that very thing a couple of days ago, actually,
Really?
the story of Buddha. Yeah, and the thought that, and where the Eastern slant maybe misses me a little bit more with once you discover that all life is suffering, then it's getting easier. And I don't ascribe to that personally. If that works for you, that's fine. But
I don't do suffering in mud and dirt.
Well, I do love the story about the exploration outside the box, because Buddha could have easily walked inside those walls forever and been just fine being rich and never questioned, but he questioned what was outside those walls. And to me, that's the critical part of the whole story. And you can look at a lot of different ideology, mythology, things that have turned into world religion. You're going to see that same story. And Brenda, that's what we're doing with Bridging the Gap. We're taking steps on that bridge. We're knocking on that door and saying, hey, what's on the other side? We're curious, and we have a right to know, and that's going to be our next step in whatever you want to say, evolution.
I want to say that this is not our intent to change anyone's mind or convince.
No.
The thing I keep thinking is, and I know we've discussed this so many times, think. Open up your own mind. Get your own answers. If you're uncomfortable with something, it's not for you. Run if you're uncomfortable. If not, ask some questions and go down the road. If something, be guided by your own inner GPA system.
GPA. That'd be GPS for most of the world, but there's also a GPA as
In
well.
my case,
Isn't it grade point average, I think, in the Western Hemisphere?
well, and the thing that I have such a struggle with this punk is that he doesn't understand Lithuanian.
You and your Lithuanian.
We say things a little differently.
Let me clarify this story. Just a real quick one, and then we'll get on with what I was hoping we would discuss today. Again, as far as this first question is concerned, it's heavy-duty stuff, and we are sending you all the best energy. It came in anonymity, so I don't have a name or a location attached to this, but Brenda, again, knowing that we're all linked up spiritually, we can send all of our best energy and will to this person, and we know that you have your answers inside of you, so just keep asking for them. They will come, and hold on. I think things are going to change.
They will change
so
when you want them to.
When you want them to, exactly. So here's the story about the Lithuanian. Brenda Burgett sends text messages like no other person I have ever known. She blames it on her phone. Words that are as simple as that and things that probably aren't even in the dictionary are horribly misspelled. It's like, what? It's
dictionary.
She spells like or meet me with an 8 in between it and blames it on her phone. However, she spelled Lithuanian perfectly on several texts I have received, including with the capital L. So I don't know what you're doing there. But.
Well, so part of it is the fact that I don't wear my glasses and the keypad's small, and the only way to communicate with this dude is by texting, so I've had to do it. So that means pull the old car over and sit like this, and you can, that's close enough, the heck with it.
I have not been a punk and a dude within 2 minutes being referred to as such since I was in junior high, and our principal was like 100 years old. That punk and that dude, eh? Oh, yeah. My GPA was great. If we'd had GPS back then, would have cut class, never would have found me.
This is your principal speaking for me, giving you one last shot.
Please don't channel principles. We should just talk about them and not actually channel them. So,
Okay.
talking about principles and all kinds of things today with intuitive medium spiritual advisor Brenda Burgett. I'm Ian Hansen. This is Bridging the Gap, and as you can tell, this is all over the place, obviously, and we like it that way. Exploring questions about our universe, helping people with getting their own answers and helping them with those steps across the bridge. Brenda, we're taking steps across the bridge all the time. We're not on the other side by any means, and we're not going to be there until we're gone from this world too. So
when we get to the other side of the bridge, there'll be this giant light that I've been looking for, and it'll just take me on up. And you know, I've sent several people across to go up into the light because I thought it was nice, but everybody goes when they're ready.
I'm just hoping that they're not changing into those coil bulbs that they're trying to make us all do, because that's going to be really disappointing to find out that, you know, we don't have some incandescence on the other side. But Brenda, I was hoping today for at least a little while, I know we got into talking about, for lack of a better word, perhaps the literal purgatory that a soul might go into or that a spirit might enter if it claims its own life. And again, how that doesn't solve anything or end anything in this lifetime for that soul. It'd have to come back and maybe do what it was here to do once again. And so it's a slowing down of the process. Very interesting, and again, we'll talk about it later on. But the initial stages of that question got me to thinking about something else, which was the tug that we feel between the intuitive side and maybe the practical side of us. And we can talk about this on our next edition of the program if we run out of time today, or maybe just down the road at some other point. But I know this is something you and I are experiencing right now.
We are.
How much of this to actually trust? Because I'm sure it could come across to some people that, well, these two must have it made. There's a trust fund sitting on her side of the equation and my side of the equation. And they just let their intuition lead them all around because they don't have practicality on their side to worry about. That actually isn't true for either of us. We have plenty of practical things to worry about.
Exactly.
You have accountants and spouses. I have, well, a spouse. I have a spouse that tries to tell me some practical things sometimes too. So we have people that tug on us both ways. So Brenda, what about the separation in a person's life? And the reason I think of that is maybe people have made bad financial decisions because they've overspent on toys, or maybe they've made bad moves in the market, or perhaps they played roulette with the kids' college fund. Who knows what it is? But maybe the intuition said, you can't lose on, you know, green 00 this time around. Or maybe you can't lose on soybeans on Tuesday because they're going to be leveraged. You know, what's going on there as far as the tug? Intuitively speaking, I should do this with money, and practically speaking, I should listen to my accountant.
Well, first of all, you know, playing the stock market intuitively is probably like driving on 4 flat tires.
I think people do it all the time, quite frankly.
And I've done quite well in the past.
I would imagine so.
But it was an accident, I'm pretty sure, because I don't think this is something this is not what we're here necessarily for. We suffer the consequences if we buy the wrong thing or if we do whatever. But I am getting to the place, and I know you are, where at least we have each other to talk to, which is, I'm very grateful for having met Chris. This is what's happening, and it's driving me crazy, but I know for sure I'm headed the right direction. What do I do? Well, I'm sitting and spinning in it less, and I think you are too, trying to make a decision. Well, do we know this is right or not? We know what's right when we really know what's right. When you have feelings, and you should always let your feelings be your guide if they're true feelings. If there's, I'm worried, I'm sick, that isn't coming from Source, that isn't coming from God. All that nervousness, where's it coming from? Identify where it's coming in. Your insecurities, your fear. When you get this bright, clear knowing that you're on the right track and all is well, and you feel good about it, but you just don't quite know how you're going to get there, that's where I'm at, and possibly you. Just be still and wait. Do your own guidance. We've talked to various people, and I believe strongly in the psychic energy, and I've talked with several of my psychic friends, and they all say the same thing, and yet I'll wake up in the middle of the night going, oh no, how are we going to do? You're human, you know. Calm down, take a breath, and know that all is well, and that there is no right or wrong, and you can't get hurt, really. If you're on the track that you came here to be on, then how can you lose?
And I think the core of this that I want to get to, Brenda, is not getting to the point where you blame your intuitive side for anything, because you have to start recognizing what it is telling you as opposed to all the other minutiae that can come in, and there can actually be a lot of it. It cannot be minutiae, it can be a whole ocean of things that are swimming around, and some people have more of that than other people do. But again, you're talking about those true feelings.
And you feel good.
Yeah.
You know it's right. If it's based on love, which is what it's all supposed to be based on, then you'll know that for sure. The insecurities and the jello guts, I like to call them.
The jello guts.
By man. That's Lithuanian, you might have trouble.
I sure hope we don't have a lot of viewers in Lithuania. They're going to wonder, you know, what is this tie they have to country? So, yeah.
Nice people.
You were talking about love just now, and I saw Eckhart Tolle and Leo Buscaglia sharing the same strand of spaghetti. It was almost like that scene from, what's that movie, Lady and the Tramp?
Oh, please.
I didn't mean anything by it, I'm just saying.
I don't share spaghetti. Why do they share spaghetti? I don't share pie, I don't share husbands. I don't share some things, including spaghetti. No.
Okay. We learned something about Brenda Burgett today on this edition of the program, if nothing else.
Strong Lithuanian roots.
No, your Lithuanian roots are showing, I think.
Yeah,
That's what's going on up there. So. Brenda, I think we're out of time for this edition of the program. The hope was that we would start and finish the program with a question, but that doesn't seem to be going to fruition, so we'll just keep starting the program with questions and see how that goes for a while. You can get questions to Brenda, again, through the website. There's two of them. It's the same website, but there's two ways to get there, bridgingthegapwithbrenda.com or bridgingthegaptv.com. By the way, if you'd like to look us up on YouTube, please do so. And what do they do over there, Shuffy? They give us a thumbs up, or they subscribe to us? Subscribe to us on YouTube. And it's Bridging the Gap on TV.
You have your credit for designing the web page there too. So that's, if you're looking for a really good web page, somebody will work with you really easily and talented, you need to talk to Jason.
Cyan. C-Y-N.
C-Y-N.
That's the name of his company. Have we given him enough plugs today?
Well, he's buying us lunch.
Oh, okay. Great spaghetti?
Yes, spaghetti.
One plate, 2 forks. We can...
Go for it, guys.
Brenda, fun as always.
Fun.
And we'll look forward to the next time around.
It's going to be good.
All right. Brenda Burgett, intuitive medium, spiritual advisor, with you on the program. It's called Bridging the Gap. I'm Ian Hansen, your host. And until the next time, enjoy your existence.